Sit down at my table. Put your mind at ease. If you relax, it will enable me to do anything I please. I can read your future, change it around some too. I look deep into your heart and soul. You know the soul, don't you? Make your wildest dreams come true. Now, a little birdie told me that your dream is to be a millionaire. But why come to me for that? You can try to win the lottery, hope and pray to get lucky, hit it big. You're hoping for something more definite, not up to chance. I understand that, I respect that. But why didn't you just be born into a rich family, start a company, support poor people to be your employees, avoid paying taxes to the government by donating to charities sometimes? Make sure your company runs those charities, something that no one ever looks into where that money goes. And invest your wealth in stocks so you don't look as rich and taxable. Okay, fine. You don't want to be a scumbag capitalist. Then your only option now is for you to make a deal with a totally normal person who's not a devil. Here's my offer. Magical benefits like these never come without a price. And this price is a tricky one. The minute you take the $1 million, and I must stress that I'm saying $1 million you can do whatever you want with, an immortal snail will appear. It always knows where you are, and is always following you. If you can't escape the snail and it touches you, you'll die. There it is. That's my offer. Do you accept? Yes! You want all of your friends to have the gift of the snail. How giving! How wonderful! Yes! 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 Snails be upon ye all! Can you feel I hope you're satisfied. But if you ain't, don't blame me. You can blame my friends on the other side.
Welcome back to the Wildlife Recap Show. I'm Rosaic, and this week, the members of the Wildlife Reserve found themselves facing the age-old question, do I have the strength to keep going? Before the session started, the Wildlife Research Team found a few new inhabitants living on the land. We go now to our science correspondent.
Alright, I am pretty sure this is how you drop an anchor. Close it up. The Wildlife Reserve has recently had many giant snails introduced into the habitat. These snails seem to thrive on land and avoid water, making them one of many land snail species to have evolved away from their aquatic ancestors. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing the David Attenborough thing the whole time. This new species of snail is especially unique as they come with never-before-seen adaptations. They appear to have very symmetrical shells, an abnormal trait for any snail species. They also have an affinity for clothing and accessories, allowing each snail to eerily resemble one of the members of the reserve. Until we can identify the scientific names of these new creatures, we have given them aliases based on which player they resemble. 18 new species of the same genus appeared, all looking remarkably different despite their similar abilities. Most of the snails that appeared had dark brown shells, these being beat-up snail, Etho, escargot, Gary, InTheLittleShell, Snumbo, Rendog, Smallishbeans, Tango, and ZombieCleo. Some of these names aren't peer-reviewed. The snails decorated their shells by draping bits of cloth over themselves. A few expanded this to full outfits, Tango and Etho wearing entire vests, and InTheLittleShell wearing a book bag. With what arms is the snail grabbing the book bag? How is this useful for the snail? How are the snails putting on clothes? Where are their arms? They have no hands. Despite all sharing the same color of shell, a few vary from the typical tan skin. Smallishbeans and Clear Roll, for instance, were different shades of green. The snails had different colored eyes depending on which member they were imitating. And also they wore wigs. At least we're pretty sure they're wigs, because snails don't typically grow hair, but we can't say for certain. The remaining snails that don't have dark brown shells are Big B Shell, Gemini Snail, Ice Snail, Pearlescent Snail, LDShadowLady, Smallest 1995, and Snailman. While the other snails only decorated themselves for imitation, these different colored shells make us think that maybe they painted themselves. So again, with what arms? One very peculiar feature of these snails is that they're able to make noise, having somehow evolved vocal cords when no other snail has. The sounds they tend to make are very reminiscent of human hooting and hollering, particularly the human Ollie the Orion sound.
Wiggle wiggle to jump and kill.
Oh, wait!
Let me pause for a second. I think he took all of these and also tuned them up as well. That wasn't me.
On an unrelated note, I used snail as my starting word in Wordle and got the answer in 2. Bringing that up for no particular reason. We'll be right back with more information from our snail research, but I'll be sending it back over to the studio. Hi. Also, I forgot Slimerity Gaming. That's on me. I forgot the Jimmy Snail. I'm sorry, that's me. My bad.
The session started calmly, with everyone comfortably in their homes making plans to survive the rest of the series. These plans did not work out. The Spanners decided to throw spanners into everyone's works by making it their mission to rob everyone. They also vowed revenge on Tango for killing Skiz last session, but needed to get creative about their vengeance as none of them could take direct action due to being green. They can, however, cause him to have a very convenient accident.
Skiz had an accident last episode, and I think it's only fair that Tango has an accident.
I love it.
Impulse finished up his creeper farm from last session and found out that the final girls had moved underground to protect themselves from looters. They didn't plan to live that way for long, however, as they felt too far from the rest of the server and wanted to find a new place closer to everyone else. I'm sure that close proximity to enemies in the, murder game will prove pretty successful. Unrelatedly, Impulse and Pro found themselves enemies of Gem and Joel after the events of last session. Furious, the family makes a fast decision to manipulate the entire server against them.
I think we shouldn't be friends with them.
I think we should turn the entire server against their group.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah. Oh, guys.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be allies, then that means we don't really get along with Impulse and Pearl.
Oh,
Really?
okay, fair. Is that after the whole cow debacle?
Well, yeah. I just think you don't have to be straight up enemies with them, but I just think that you should be cautious. It seems like they're up to no good.
Okay.
Conversely, Wrenwood Mount didn't find themselves on the family's bad side despite past events as the two groups strengthened their bond. The Tough Guys proves that the patriarchy truly does harm us all by challenging each other to do the toughest thing they can do to prove they're above empathy, but each one admits they don't want to act tough.
Honestly, everybody, I'm trying to pretend to be a tough guy. I am more like a tough guy in training.
However, to keep up appearances, Tango and Etho accuse B-Dubs of not really being a tough guy as he didn't do anything bad the previous session. B-Dubs vows that he will this episode and goes to Cherry Mountain.
Oh, please come through
Right
Scar's
through my
legs.
legs there.
Oh, this is Scar's leg.
The minute he gets there, he immediately asks the Bamboozlers to help him pretend that he did a bad thing. They agree on the story that B-Dubs had come to burn down the parrot and got chased off for it. Now, B-Dubs is a known liar in the Life series. He told the Tough Guys that he's pretending to be nice to people to get their guard down, but then tells the Bamboozlers that he doesn't want to be mean to people, but doesn't want to lose his alliance. We can't be certain which group he's lying to, but they probably won't be happy when they find out the truth. The Bamboozlers started this week in a productive mood. Scar made a meeting area for the team, at which they decide they need to go mining as they're lacking resources that other teams have. While they go mining, they come across several creepers, all of which surround Jimmy and gang up on him.
Hurry, Wes! Jimmy, behind you.
Mr. Creeper, how's your beat? Sorry,
Jimmy,
what
can
are
you
doing?
stop? You're very upsetting me.
There was some there behind me as well. That could be bad.
They're everywhere. Scar, watch out! Oh my gosh!
Hold on, I'm getting reports of a huge update about those cute snails from earlier. We go live back out to our field reporter.
Hi, gal. This just in. The snails kill people.
The snails kill people?
The snails kill people. Once the wild card activated, the snails emerged from their resting spots and went on a murderous rampage, starting immediately with Big B Shell killing Big B.
A wild card is activated. I hear something. What the? What?
What is that thing flying towards you, Big B, in the sky?
It was just back there, too. Big B wasn't the only one to fall victim to the snails early. Many people were gathered at the base of Cherry Mountain, and the snails arrived to start pursuing their respective lifers. The Tough Guys had a particularly rough go of it, as we got to see the snails utilize their unique abilities to hunt down and brutally murder all three of them. Jimmy also died. Lizzie and Scar had continued mining after Jimmy had died the first time and ended up discussing the mob spawner that Lizzie had found in session 1. While they were inside the dungeon room, they started to hear the sound of blocks breaking.
I wonder...
What was that?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, run! Scar, what was that?
I don't know what that is, but it looks scary. It was a pink snail.
What do you mean it was a snail?
It gave off vibes of you.
The Spanners found out their base was particularly useful for staying alive as it acted as an obstacle course for the snails. It took a long time for the snails to get from the bottom to the top, and the Spanners could effectively loop the snails around as they dropped from the meeting room to the ground and started the journey over again. This did get slightly scary for Grian as he couldn't make it through the trapdoors to the bottom of the base in time, causing him to have to do an improvised dance to escape the snails' clutches. The seeming omnipotence of the snails became the object of study for the session, with everyone trying their best to work out the limits and powers of the creatures. I'll tell you one thing, these guys were not killing at a snail's pace. I didn't write that one. The snails have impeccable pathfinding, always attempting to find the quickest path to their target. After Escargot found Scar in the caves and killed him, it started to move incredibly fast to find where Scar had respawned. The further a distance is between snail and prey, the faster it can move. Fun fact, Escargot is actually instructions for when Scar sees a snail. The snail's feats of traversal don't stop there. They're able to break blocks, eliminating all obstacles in their way with extreme speed. And trapping the snail or encasing yourself is of no use. If they were falling from a great height, they were able to deploy a parachute, because they carry those on them. If a player was too high up to reach by crawling or leaping, the snails would activate a tiny propeller hat that would lift them up, because they carry those on them. I'd like to circle back to the bag question from earlier. Only one of the snails has a backpack. Where are the rest holding their parachutes? How are they activating the parachutes? The more we learn about these snails, the more they don't seem like actual animals and more like evil demons set by a supernatural force. But that would be ridiculous. In attempts to try and slow the snails down, Lizzie and Joel tried to lure the snails into the water, but it actually slid around the water to stay entirely on land. Mumbo actually managed to force the snail into the water, but this did not have positive results. Whichever member the snail chose to mimic was binded to them spiritually somehow. If the snail stayed underwater for too long, the respective player would begin to drown. This took the lives of Mumbo, Skizz, and Tango. Impulse tried to lure the snails to a nether portal to try and keep it in the unloaded chunks, but the snail was able to pathfind around the portal. Etho and Martin went into the nether themselves to gather resources and taught us something else about the snails. They can teleport! Mumbo and Grian also discovered this when they went mining. Due to being so far from the snails, the pathfinding the animals simply decided that the easiest way to reach them was to just appear.
I'm feeling positive about this situation. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
You got 10.
Yeah,
I got 5. That's
okay.
gotta be enough to encase someone. It's not
Grian. This is worrying, as if they've been able to teleport the whole time, but choose to chase the players. They're in this for the love of the hunt. Since they couldn't stop or slow down the snail, the next choice was obviously to kill them. However, you can't kill the snail. All physical attacks couldn't get past their shell. All projectiles thrown and fired at them bounced off. Any TNT ignited nearby would be repelled away from them. These things are horrifying. The snail's main form of killing is by pouncing. It wriggles its body in preparation and leaps at its prospective target, instantly killing them. I'd list which players died to this, but it'd be far easier to say who did it. The only players to not fall victim to the snails were Joel, Jem, Scott, Cleo, and Lizzie. I did say main form of killing, as they are known to kill in one other way: accidentally stepping on them.
He's the one who killed me.
On that one.
The snails did have talents for which action they were about to do. They would make a sound key for most actions, which, could have been studied and learned if everyone wasn't panicking about the attack of the killer snails. Due to the snails being both unstoppable force and immovable object, the competitors quickly realized they could potentially weaponize the mollusks. The spanners attempted to get Skizz to trap people in cobwebs so that their snails could kill them, but Skizz was not successful.
Nobody lets their snail get close enough. Of course they do. You do. Multiple times today.
In a very different manner, the other attempt to weaponize the snails was also a failure. Martin and Etho were caught scheming about using invisibility and speed potions on the snails by Lizzie and Joel. Martin then told this idea to Ren, who was a yellow light. Ren then used an invisibility potion on a random snail. That random snail was Escargot, and it successfully killed Scar. However, Scar is a yellow life, so this would not give Ren an extra life. Even if it did give Ren an extra life, how would Ren know about this? Why did he do that? The snails were so terrifying that after both Grian and Lizzie died, they genuinely contemplated staying on the death screen to stay out of the snail's armless clutches.
Let me help you out. I'm worried about you.
Oh no. Okay, you know what? I just realized. I'm safe here. I'm safe here in the respawn screen. The snail can't get to me in here.
I went for Mumbo's.
No! I'm safer here. I'm safer on the death screen.
The final kill count for the snails in this session is a whopping 27. This beats out the previous most deadly mob, Creepers, who've killed 21 people over the course of the entire series. Considering everything that's happened, I don't think humans are the most dangerous game anymore. They seem pretty easy.
Oh. Well, that's terrifying. Snails were not the only thing players found themselves dying to this week. Skizz, having found himself repeatedly on red, decided to go musical with his kills. Now able to take his revenge, Skizz took Tango out with ease, as PvP is not his specialty. Lizzie was next, attempting to hide from Skizz as soon as he turned red by going to the caves. She lost her life just as she had started it confused. This makes her swear vengeance on the Spanners. Scar witnesses both of those deaths as well as an attempt on his own. Skizz has to back out from the aquifer he chased Scar into to avoid drowning, but Scar is not so lucky and finds himself on his last life. At the moment, Skizz has not received credit for Scar's drowning, but he may receive it by next session just so Grian won't have to see him fail at killing anymore. Grian and Mumbo had a near-death experience while mining for cobwebs so that Skizz could trap people and have their snails kill them, or, failing that, Skizz himself. 2 separate attempts are made on the final girls at their new base, both of them failing to get Skizz a kill. Ren does succeed in killing Impulse on the second attempt as he had joined the Spanners to get himself off yellow. Grian's quick to point out how much of a liability Skizz is, but Mumbo's a bit more polite. We think this is him being polite at least.
I got my kill, and he's like, "You did it wrong." I'm like, "Come on."
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Skizz. I think you did
What
great.
are you proud of
the
him
way that you
for?
were swinging that sword was majestic. I heard it from a distance. Your
Thank you,
stride length
Mumbo.
was perfect. Your shoulders were rippling. I could see
It's
it.
going. I love it.
The whole
I
time
could
you're just
see it.
panicking.
No,
Your knees were bending well. You were landing. You weren't even heel striking, and apparently that's a good thing. You were mid foot landing as
Grian?
you ran.
Are you listening to this,
Swinging that-
Grian? This is how you do it. This is how you talk somebody up.
Not all kills this session were due to bloodlust. Jimmy, afraid of losing his last life, makes a deal to kill Ren for life in exchange for an alliance in the late game. Guess the canary curse gets delayed for a bit. Darn. Jimmy also attempts to drop TNT minecarts on Mumbo, who's both not where he is aiming and also not a valid target, Jimmy being yellow and Mumbo being lime. He does manage to kill Skizz, but does not get the life for it as Skizz was yellow. Lizzie may need to capitalize on her secret alliance with Gem sooner than expected if, in her words, their teammates keep being stupid.
In the final, when it's just me and you alive because everybody else is stupid and they've died.
Yeah,
the rest
true.
of our teams.
We'll bond. We'll bond then. I like
An
that.
alliance has been formed on this day.
Not wanting to be overshadowed by everything going on this session, the creepers also make sure they get their kills in for today. Having already killed him once this session, they go for Jimmy again as he chats with Skizz. He reacts so normally to this.
This is so awful.
Can I log out and never log back in?
Etho also sees himself dying to a creeper and, taking a page out of Skizz's playbook, Martin dies to an Enderman while in the Nether, because, you know, things always go great for Martin in the Nether. He, along with Etho, did manage to successfully get Blazed Rod's Nether Wart to be able to set up a brewing stand, so the trip wasn't a complete bust. The family decided the best way to work around their snails was to accept them into the family. Gem made a nice little pen for her cows, because we still need nice things in this death game. They work on a wall around their base to deter the masses, but this does not work out, as people still walk through their base as it is unfortunately a central point. They also find their base a target of more misaligned explosions from Jimmy, who had been trying to kill them. Like his many other attempts today, they did not go as planned, instead taking out a good chunk of the car.
Look, Jimmy's coming over here again. He's hiding in my car. Jimmy, you're just awful at assassinations, my friend. Get off the roof of my car.
Jimmy, can you please kill us? I want you to work really hard.
Jeez! What in the...
You
Did
bet.
you
Oh,
kill
for goodness sake!
Gosh, I'm so... Dude!
Get off my car!
Etho, after hearing of B-Dubs' tough axe, decided to do one of his own and kill all the Bamboozler's cows. Scar retaliated on the tough guys by burning down Tango's base, who gets chastised for building with wood, as if everyone else isn't also doing the same. Tango then burns down the roller coaster. At this rate, the entire server will be dead or burnt down by the end of next session. We'll just have to wait and see what goes down next week, as that's all the time we have for this week. Here is a list of everyone's current life. There were a total of 37 deaths this week, and we may see a yellow Skizz at the start of next week if he gets awarded a life for Skizz's drowning. I've been Rosaic, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.